Well, the first person infected with Ebola in the United States has been declared free of the disease, and even President Obama is taking steps to prove that Nina Pham is not a risk to the public. You could call this Exhibit A. Just hours after Pham's release from the NIH in Bethesda, the nurse from Dallas getting a hug in the Oval Office from President Obama himself. Suzanne Kennedy is outside the NIH tonight, where we heard from Pham earlier today. Suzanne.
Scott, she stood outside this hospital just behind me with her mother and her sister by her side, holding their hands with a huge smile on her face. Relief from the nurse, who is now on her way home to Texas.
She is cured of Ebola. Let's get that clear.
7 days after arriving at the National Institutes of Health, Texas nurse Nina Pham is about to go home.
I feel fortunate and blessed to be standing here today.
The 26-year-old was the first U.S. nurse to contract Ebola after treating patient Thomas Eric Duncan earlier this month. Pham was transferred here last Thursday after being treated at Texas Presbyterian Hospital, where she worked. This nurse turned patient today expressed her gratitude.
As a nurse, I have a special appreciation for the care I've received from so many people. Not just doctors and nurses, but the entire support team.
Pham's treatment included a plasma transfusion from former Ebola patient Dr. Kent Brantley. Today, doctors called her extraordinary.
Nina put herself in a situation where she knew it was a risk, but because of her character and her bravery and that of her colleagues in the field, she happened to unfortunately get infected.
Pham says she is looking forward to recovering, regaining her privacy, and spending time with her dog. She says the prayers of others helped pull her through.
I do not know how I can ever thank you everyone enough for their prayers and their expressions of concern, hope, and love.
Pham underwent 5 consecutive tests, all of them Ebola-free. Doctors say she is cured, but they say it could take weeks before she feels 100%. Reporting live in Bethesda, Suzanne Kennedy, ABC 7 News.
The other Dallas nurse infected while treating Thomas Duncan, Amber Vinson, remains hospitalized at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta. Blood tests show no sign of Ebola, but a discharge date has not yet been set.
Well, just as those nurses recover from their brush with Ebola, the Centers for Disease Control has confirmed a New York City doctor now has the virus. Marcy Gonzalez joins us live from outside Bellevue Hospital in New York, where that doctor's being treated. Marcy.
And Allison, this latest Ebola patient's fiance and 2 friends are in quarantine as a precaution, while he is here in isolation, listed in stable condition. Today, New York officials trying to calm fears as the city's first Ebola patient battles the virus in this Manhattan hospital.
There is no cause for alarm. New Yorkers need to understand the situation is being handled and handled well.
Dr. Craig Spencer put in isolation after coming down with a fever yesterday, nearly a week after he returned from working with Doctors Without Borders treating Ebola patients in Guinea. We're told in the days before Spencer was diagnosed, the 33-year-old went to this bowling alley in Brooklyn, rode the subway, and ate in a restaurant. And while he reportedly felt tired at the time, he was showing no Ebola symptoms, which experts stress means he was not contagious. Mayor Bill de Blasio demonstrating that confidence riding the subway today. Health officials checking each place, though, as a precaution.
There is no risk of Ebola here.
Spencer's apartment now being decontaminated by hazmat crews, the same process done in Dallas where 2 nurses were infected. But in response to this latest case, we have just learned that healthcare workers returning to New York or New Jersey from West Africa will now be under mandatory quarantine for 21 days, and some are pushing for this to be extended to the rest of the country. Live in New York, Marcy Gonzalez, ABC 7 News.
All right, thank you, Marcy. An Ebola false alarm on a flight from Dulles Airport to Columbia, South Carolina today. Airport officials kept United Flight 5723 from pulling up to gate after a passenger developed a nosebleed. Paramedics boarded the plane on the tarmac as a precaution, and once they gave the all clear, passengers were allowed to get off the plane. ABC 7 is helping you separate fact from fiction as concern grows over Ebola in America. A panel of experts will answer your questions on Monday at 7 o'clock on our sister station, News Channel 8. I'll be moderating that panel, and to ask a question, hashtag it as Your Voice, Your Future